Welcome everyone to this final panel session of the 3-day-long conference. And today we have a beautiful panel here. Also, 2 of them are supposed to join online. And I believe that they will be joining anytime soon. If there is any technical issue, our team is there to assist. A few of the things before I would like to mention here is that one of the participants, one of the presenters, will be speaking in French. So in case you have difficulty in understanding, or so I urge you to get a headset, which is available just in front of the main podium. So that would be really helpful for you to continue with the session and also to ask questions. Because if you ask question in English, the translation will be available to the presenter. That will be helpful. So today we have here with us in person Mohammed Abdur Rahaman. He is the director of the Center for People and Environment Bangladesh. And CP works with scientists, researchers and professionals, academicians, students and people of Bangladesh for sustainable development. Then we have with us Kuamvi Sodji. He is from University of Lomé, Togo. Kuamvi is an academic researcher and actively working in economics and finance, with contribution focusing on topics such as entrepreneurship, household income, and other important areas, particularly in the context of Togo. Again, just wanted to reiterate that he will be speaking in French. Along with that, online, as I can see, Michael has joined. So let me just give you a little introduction. Michael is a PhD scholar at present in the University of Cape Coast in Ghana. Along with that, we have a 4th presenter, but he is yet to join. Oh, that's great. I can see that I will be introducing the 4th speaker as and when he joins. Before I go ahead, let me also tell you the format of the session. I will be giving 5 to 6 minutes to each of our presenter or panelists for the first round, and then I will be opening the floor to the audience. I might have 1 or 2 questions, and then we'll see how it goes forward, because we'll try to make the session as interactive as possible. Also, I request the audience and to write down your questions so that you can ask them to the specific panelists in the second round. And before I go ahead, a very small introduction about me. I'm Sayantan. I work in an university in India, and today I'm here to moderate the session, and also, if required, I'll be asking some of the questions, and I believe that we'll try to make it interactive. But before I hand it over the microphone to the panelists, let me welcome Elisabetta from Asian Development Bank. She is going to take a little bit about ADB and its mission and how it's connected with the goal of this conference. Over to you, Elisabetta.
Thank you so much, Chantal. Maybe you can pull up the page with the report. I just want to take this opportunity. I see that many of you were already here either earlier today or yesterday, so I'm going to make it very quick. ADB has a research agenda on digital transformation, and this report, the Asian Development Policy Report 2025, is precisely dedicated to digital transformation. It is obviously open access, can be accessed on the ADB portal. Just a couple of messages I have selected from the report that are very fitting for this session. The first one is relating to inclusive finance. Digital financial services such as mobile banking, online transfers, mobile money, peer-to-peer platforms, and digital payment platforms can improve the coverage and accessibility of financial services. Digitization in financial services also provides a solution to the shortage of bank branches in rural areas. Finally, digital technologies enable conventional financial institutions to extend financial services to underserved communities. The second message that I would like to extract from the report is about disaster risk management. Digital technologies support resilient agricultural strategies. Digital technologies also improve disaster monitoring and analytics, fostering timely responses to disasters. So with that, I give the floor back to our wonderful moderator, and thank you all for being here. It is the last session of the day, so I know that we are beginning to get a bit tired, but we have to soldier on. Thank you, Sayantan.
Yeah. Thank you, Elisabetta, and you very well put together the ideas and what ADB is doing and how it is connected to the aim and goal and the sustainability goal of the world. All right, so first we have, I'll hand over the microphone to our speakers present in person, but before that, let me just brief you about the session a little bit. Well, from FinTech to health care and in technology, we have a wide range of papers, and also let me tell you that the papers are available in the platform so that you can go ahead for a detailed look. And the papers and the presenters will be talking about a wider challenge of achieving equitable sustainable development through inclusion. Digital tools or digital pathways is one of the avenues. Not only just is an avenue, it is an important avenue. That is interesting and important aspect to consider. Now, digital interventions in agriculture, financial sector, climate advisory, and governance all are very much context specific. And today's presentations are from different geographical locations, where we will see that how are these context specific solutions through digital interventions are kind of bringing positive and sustainable changes to the lives of people. Rahaman will be talking about climate advisory and early warning of flood in communities of Bangladesh. Kuamvi's work is connected to the combined effects on ICT adoption and gender inclusion, which are nuanced and context dependent. Michael will be talking about persistent gender and locational gaps in digital financial inclusion and which require a targeted intervention, whereas Morrisson will be talking about consultative process of a farmer participants in digital co-innovation as farmers who offer critical local knowledge and should be part of or are part of that digital initiative. Now, if you look at the papers or if you look at the presentation, even through my very minor introduction, is that they are diverse in nature, but at one point or one or 2 points, they connect with each other. I would say that the intersecting boundaries are context and the involvement of people for whom the technology is designed or targeted to. So my common question to both of you here and also our online presenter is that beyond sustainable innovation, what are the critical human and systemic factors that determine whether technology truly builds long-term inclusive resilience in a community's core sector, or it simply provides a temporary fix? I would request Rahaman and Kuamvi to spend about 5 to 6 minutes to explain the ideas, followed by which I'll move to Michael and Morrisson for their opinion and their part. Over to you, Rahaman. Also, I request everybody here to speak on microphone so that our online participants can hear and also the interpreter can listen to you carefully. Okay. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Thanks GDN and also ADB for hosting this tutorial session. I am from Bangladesh. Bangladesh is a host of natural disasters. And there are a lot of climatic extremes in Bangladesh. Globally, mostly Bangladesh is one of the countries which faces different types of climatic extremes every year. In terms of ranging from cyclone, flood, and recently heat wave is another promising climate extremes in Bangladesh. We are working for the last couple of years on different areas of Bangladesh to develop climate resilient information system, an early warning system. In Bangladesh, there is a national early warning system, but there is no recognized climate information services. In 2017, there was a massive flood in Bangladesh, and we have found in our some parts of country, geographical location, due to flood, there was a loss and damage in terms of agricultural damage, livestock, and also human death. Then from 2019, we have introduced a actual research in 2 flood-prone areas of Bangladesh. These are nearby India. You know, Bangladesh is a downstream country of many more upstream rivers, especially from India. So these 2 locations are situated in Tista Basin, and also another is in Yamuna Basin. We have selected 2 these areas for this piloting, and we are trying to develop mobile-friendly apps like Unji. We are trying to develop to provide the real-time information on climate advisory and early warning systems. And we have found at the first time our early warning system doesn't focus on location specific and also user-friendly information because it only provides information from national domain in the national language, and also it provides large-scale information. So then we have reanalyzed climate information based on location, and also we have developed advisory based on land elevation, proximity to the river, and also proximity to the sea. We have developed this information. In 2019, we have introduced this intervention, and then we have found 2 large disaster flood in those areas in 2021 and 2024 in the last year. And we have found in 2017 there was a 72 livestock death and 3 human death we have counted in the area, and there is a huge agricultural loss and damage we have counted. But in 2021 there was only 3 livestock death and there was no human death based on our information. And in 2024 there is no livestock death also. In Bangladesh, you know, from the last year, our flood shifted another region, especially in the eastern region of Bangladesh, because of our changing our wind direction and rainfall pattern, and also raising temperature in Bay of Bengal. So our wind direction is changed. So we are found going to flood in the eastern region of Bangladesh. We need to develop the more inclusive climate information services and also real-time information services. And hopefully we can do that shortly, because we are submitting proposal in different organizations to scale up this intervention nationwide. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Rahaman, for this very brief but very important overview of how the technologies are helping to reduce or mitigate the flood risk in the lower plains of Bangladesh. But I'll come back to you with more questions related to how, what are the difficulties that you're facing and what kind of support that you required, and how are you including the locals in the entire process. So I'll come back to you in the second round. Right now, I'll hand over the microphone to Coffie for his remarks.
Ok, merci beaucoup. Et déjà, merci pour l'invitation de la GDN pour pouvoir partager le fruit de notre travail. C'est un travail qui a été élaboré avec un chercheur de l'Afrique de l'Ouest, toujours à l'université de Lomé, M. Gouthon, à qui je rends un vivant hommage. Notre travail a porté sur l'inclusion économique des femmes et la mobilisation des ressources financières et l'impact éthique. Il faut dire que ce dont nous avons constaté, c'est que depuis un certain temps, nous subissons des échecs en Afrique pour lutter contre la faim, les inégalités et tout ce qui concerne la durabilité. Et dans ces échecs-là, nous avons constaté aussi qu'il y a un manque puissant de financement. Les flux financiers extérieurs, en l'occurrence, il y a eu des politiques, il y a eu des échecs des politiques d'aide publique au développement qui n'arrivent pas à gagner vraiment des ressources pour pouvoir réaliser les objectifs des ODD. Dans cet environnement-là, nous constatons que, en termes de mobilisation d'impôts moyens, l'Afrique se situe à un quota de 16,6% contre 41% pour l'Europe, 21% pour l'Asie et puis 22% pour l'Amérique. Ce constat nous a amené à porter une réflexion sur le fait que comment est-ce que nous pouvons élargir l'assiette fiscale. Étant donné que l'institution qui est derrière notre idée, c'est que la mobilisation de ces ressources financières là pourront aider réellement à atteindre les objectifs de développement et les programmes de développement pour l'Afrique en question. Les TIC, ces dernières années, sont rentrés dans la vie beaucoup plus des Africains. Et nous utilisons beaucoup plus l'outil Internet et puis les mobiles pour pouvoir réaliser beaucoup d'activités. Nous avons constaté qu'il y a un groupe marginalisé, le groupe des femmes, où en Afrique subsaharienne, les femmes représentent 58% du secteur informel, où elles sont laissées de côté. Nous disons que par rapport à l'inclusion de ces femmes et à l'outil d'éthique, nous pourrons toutefois, cet outil peut toutefois booster le commerce des femmes et puis il y aura une plus-value qui sera tassée et cela pourra augmenter tout comme fait les recettes fiscales. C'est le fruit de notre travail. Pour cela, nous avons fait un travail macroéconomique où nous avons mobilisé les outils économétriques sur 42 pays africains sur la période de 2000 à 2022 où nous avons constaté que substantiellement l'inclusion des CES agissait sur la mobilisation des recettes fiscales ainsi que l'éthique agisse sur la mobilisation des recettes fiscales. Mais ce qui est important par rapport au fruit de notre travail, c'est que nous nous sommes dit qu'il y a un effet de seuil. Et nous sommes partis chercher l'effet de seuil, c'est-à-dire là où le seuil où les TIC peuvent réellement moduler l'impact de l'inclusion des CES sur la mobilisation des recettes fiscales. C'est la partie importante de notre travail, où en faisant ces estimations-là, nous sommes partis trouver des points où nous avons trouvé 0,33 comme point où l'Internet pouvait agir sur l'emploi des femmes pour booster les recettes fiscales. De l'autre côté aussi, nous avons trouvé aussi que l'accès aussi au réseau mobile aussi pouvait aussi aider à pouvoir booster aussi ces recettes fiscales-là. C'est le travail que nous avons fait et nous nous sommes dit que par rapport à cette perspective-là, ces groupes marginalisés peuvent être aussi utilisés pour pouvoir servir à atteindre nos objectifs de développement. Merci.
Thank you so much, Kuamvi. Again, I would come back to you in the second round, but you have mentioned, also I've read your paper, we have mentioned about the inclusion of women, and you also have mentioned about the difficulties that are there in inclusion of women in the entire process. So in the next round, probably I'll be asking about some solutions or what are your thoughts coming out from your empirical research about what are those problems? Why are women not coming up or coming forward as they should? And can technology play a role in reaching out to the last mile and reaching out to the so-called unreached as of now? But thank you nonetheless. Right now, we're from the in-person mode, now we will move to the online category or online mode. And there we have two speakers. I have already introduced one, but because Morrisson joined a little late, I thought of introducing him when he joined. So let me take just half a minute to very quickly introduce Morrisson. So Morrisson is a postdoctoral researcher and the Laboratory for Research on Innovation for Agricultural Development at University of Para, Brazil. Welcome Morrisson, and also we look forward to hear a very thought-provoking presentation from you. But before that, we would move to Michael. As I said earlier, Michael is a PhD scholar from University of Cape Coast, Ghana, and Michael will be presenting on the persistent gender and locational gaps in digital financial inclusion, which also required targeted interventions. Over to you, Michael.
Thank you. Please, can you hear me?
Really good if you can switch on your video, and the same goes for Morrisson.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes,
Okay, so good afternoon to my co-panelists and also everyone present. So I'd like to start off by thanking the organization for giving me this opportunity to present my paper. Unfortunately, I was supposed to be there, but due to circumstances beyond my control, I wasn't able to make it. So going to your question, I think it's a very critical question that you've asked, whether or how we can ensure that digital technologies are not just standalone innovations, but they can help improve the resilience of the sectors that we have in our economies. And if you come to Sub-Saharan Africa, what you find is that one of the key sectors is the small and medium scale enterprises. In fact, they are the main drivers of the economies in SSA. Their data shows that in terms of employment, they are the foremost employers of the youth. And this sector for decades have been left out of the financial space. They don't have access to financial services. But what you've seen is that with the introduction of digital technology and its application into the financial sector, more and more of these SMEs are getting access to financial services. But when we mine the data, what you find is that the most vulnerable in these sectors are still excluded in the financial space. And in my research, where I looked at, I tried to understand what is accounting for those disparities, where you find, for instance, females and those in rural areas are still left out of the financial space, even with the advent of digital financial technologies. And what was interesting in my work is that I realized that digital literacy, the disparities in digital literacy, was the main reason why vulnerable groups, even within the SME sector, are still left out of the financial space. And so that comes back to your question that if you really want to ensure that technologies are not just standalone, but they help us to improve our resilience, then we need to target and ensure that people know how to use these digital technologies. If they know how to use it, then we can ensure that it would help us address the resilience in our economies. There's also the issue of trust, that some of our locals do not trust the providers of these services. And so they are still hesitant to use it. And so there's a need for us to create more awareness and let them understand that the adoption of these digital technologies would inure to their benefit and help them improve their productivity. And so I think that if you're able to do these two things, improve help them know how to use the technologies and also improve the ability to trust the providers, I think it will go a long way to ensure that we can leverage on technology to improve the welfare of our citizens. And so for now, that is what I have to say. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Michael, for bringing out a very important aspects of trust. In this conference for the last 3 days, we are hearing the word trust over and over again in different contexts, and different experts have tried to explain it. Yesterday we had a whole session at the end of the day about trust in digital environment, and it is not just an issue in the global north, but everywhere, even the places in the world which are not yet connected or not well connected digitally, there is also trust is playing a very major role for people to come forward. So Michael, the question to you would be in the line of how to build that trust, really, because you have the ground knowledge, you are from that area, you have done empirical research, and those insights will really help us to understand how to go that last mile, how to not just to build the technology in a very technical manner, but also how to build the trust and really bridge those gaps. Also, I request audience here present and also online to really think about the questions and write it down, so that soon after this next presentation we will open the floor for your questions, and we can expect as many questions from you as you like. So without further ado, I would move to our final presenter or final panelist, who is Morrisson. And Morrisson will be talking about digital solutions which are resulting from co-innovation process in a particular context, and especially where farmers are offering local knowledge to boost and to facilitate the digital intervention. Over to you, Morrisson, and once again I would request you to switch on your video so that all of us can see you and hear you as well. Over to you. Morrisson, could you hear us? Yeah, you are muted. If you can unmute yourself, and also if you can switch on your video, that would be really helpful. All right. So I think that what will happen, that Morrisson may have some technical difficulties, and at a later stage he can come online, and as and when he comes online, we will hand over the floor to Morrisson so that he can present. Right. Okay. Yeah, but I think should be able to hear us, and most likely some technical problem. So what we'll do is that we will go ahead with the next round of questions from the audience, and meanwhile if Morrisson, and we can hear him or we can see him, we will soon hand over the floor to Morrisson. Oh yeah, he has, well, he has unmuted, so I believe that some technical problems are still there. But not to worry, Morrisson, you take your little time to solve the technical issue that you are facing at your end. Meanwhile, we will move ahead with the questions from the audience. So right now, what I'll request the audience present here to ask any questions, and also I would like to mention that you do not need to restrict your questions to only questions. You can also share comments or insights from your area, which will immensely help the presenters to understand and connect with the insights. So please go ahead, raise your hand, and please go ahead and ask a question to the audience. Any questions from the audience? Yes. Yes, Elizabeth.
Maybe you start with
Yes, I'll start with you, and use the microphone.
Thank you. My name is Andrew. I'm from Ethiopia. My first question is to Dr. Rahaman. Usually when we introduce new technologies, whatever it is, local people hesitate to take it and adopt it. That's the challenge in most cases. I would like to know, in your case, when you introduce a tailored technology that is meant to provide early warning system to provide, to alleviate risk of disaster, what kind of challenge you face, especially from the local community? How researchers are aware, or what kind of maybe training or awareness creation interventions have you done in your case? and how that was important in terms of like allowing or helping people to accept and use those kinds of technologies in their agricultural activities. That's my first question. My second question is related to digital technologies and women involvement or interventions that can help women. And the issues here are one is about access to technologies and then use it to get financial credit or whatever resource. The other thing is the issue of control or decision. Even if women in rural country, I mean in a rural areas or generally in developing countries have access to some kinds of assets, they have limited power to decide. The decision is not in their hand. Even if you have access to, let's say, or even if financial resources are available, they may not have the decision to the ability to decide to borrow. Usually, it is the males who decide that. And how may digital technologies help in terms of empowering women? And what kind of supports or maybe interventions could be done in addition to just availing digital technologies? Thank you.
Thank you so much. What I would request the speaker to the panelists to answer the question, and yeah, you can first try, and then I'll move to that.
Okay, thank you. There is two questions. Firstly, in this intervention, we have used different approaches to involve different people in rural areas. It is one kind of citizen science approach. We have developed 3 types of disaster leaders. These are women, youth, and religious leaders. In Bangladesh, religion is the most important barrier for women to access in market or any other digital technology also. So we have developed 3 types of leaders. Those are women leaders, and also youth leader, and also a religious leader who are working in the community as a catalyst. And these interventions not only providing climate information, we are providing agricultural advisories also, health advisories, and also market information. We have incorporated their market information, where people will get their resilient agricultural crop products, crop seeds, or where they will sell their products, etc. We are introducing this project. So we have found, based on our 6-year intervention, now in each community, religious leaders, youth, and women are capacitated to connect with the agriculture officer, connect with disaster department, connect with NGOs also. But at the first time, it was very challenging for us to involve themselves in the intervention. But we are working with 2 small community. This is a piloting, so we are working to a small community. So whenever we will scale up in the large community, I think we need to more inclusive approach how we connect all of the communities in this intervention. And there was another issue Mr. Khalid already discussed in his discussion. There is at present we are facing a major challenge. Disability inclusive information dissemination, because there are different types of disability like the deaf and blind, hearing problem. So we have found voice SMS is highly effective, but these are not effective for those personal disability who need hearing aid. So in future we need to overcome these challenges, and we are working on overcoming challenges. Thank you very much.
Right now, as the moderator, I can do two things. I can either ask Michael to present his opinion about how the gender or how women are facing problems and how to include them even more, the answering to the question about the decision-making powers and also empowerment. But right now, what I'll do is that I'll try to connect with Morrisson once again to see if he can present, and because I believe that there are some technical difficulty that he is facing, so right now he is connected, and we will go to Morrisson and then we'll again resume the question and answers. So over to you, Morrisson. Morrisson will be talking about a consultative process of farmer participation in digital co-innovation, because farmers, the local farmers provide crucial local knowledges. Over to you, Morrisson. Morrisson, we are not being able to hear you. If you can speak a little louder, or maybe remove the headphone and try to speak with the microphone available in the computer.
Muted, maybe?
Not muted. No, Morrisson, we are not being able to hear you. Is it possible to try to disconnect the microphone and see if your laptop microphone can be used in that case? Or mobile microphone? No, I'm sure that there are some technical difficulties, and Morrisson is trying to solve that as well. So what we'll do is that we'll resume our question and answer, and I'd like to ask Michael. Michael, once again, if you can switch on your video and also tell us that how gender and playing its role here, and also how women can be how their role can be changed or developed so that they are in a decision-making role, at least improved. What is your field experience, and what are the suggestions that you have?
Thank you for the question. Please, hope you can hear me.
Yes, you're audible.
Okay, so I think when it comes to how to ensure that women are included in the use of digital technologies, one key intervention has to do with digital literacy. If you can improve the digital literacy of women, that can go a long way to ensure that they make use of digital technologies. Let me give you an example. In my work, in a work that we did where we focused on 4 countries in Africa, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, and Nigeria, what we found is that when you look at the use of digital financial services, from ATM to credit card to debit card to mobile money, we found that there was a disparity between across gender. Males were using it more than females, and that was no surprise to us. But what we tried to do was look at how can we bridge that gap. And based on analysis, what we found was that by improving digital literacy, it was 60% of the gap in usage between males and females could be bridged. So that tells us that if we can ensure that females are able to use this or train them to use digital technologies, that can help bridge the gap and ensure that women are also using digital technologies. So I think for now, that is what I can say. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Right now, I'll ask Elizabeth to ask a question.
Thank you. Actually, my question is for Mr. Kuamvi. I hope I have pronounced your name correctly.
Oui.
And it's a similar question on the topic that we were discussing yesterday, right? I was asking the panelists from yesterday's session whether they had observed that digital technologies could, help some of these micro and small enterprises go from informality to formality. And what you were discussing earlier about tax revenue and tax receipt, I think fits very nicely into this overall discussion. So in your research, what is it you can say, drawing from your research, on the issue of digital technologies helping micro small enterprises to emerge from informality?
Ok, déjà, merci beaucoup pour la question très pertinente. Je me dis une chose. Une commerçante en Afrique aujourd'hui, si elle sait que le produit qu'elle vend, elle a le téléphone portable en main, le produit qu'elle vend, elle peut toutefois le mettre sur le téléphone portable et le ventiler, et qui puisse l'amener plus de revenus, je pense qu'elle le fera. Ça rejoint un peu l'histoire de la confiance, un peu aussi de l'alphabétisation numérique dont on a parlé ce matin. Je pense que c'est très important, le volet de la sensibilisation, de montrer à nos femmes que et vraiment l'outil qu'elles détiennent aujourd'hui, c'est un outil qui peut toutefois les servir à avoir plus de valeur absolue. Tout en disant ça, c'est pour dire que beaucoup de femmes aujourd'hui en Afrique ont en main un téléphone portable, mais elles ne savent pas vraiment comment l'utiliser à bon escient ou pour augmenter leurs revenus. Or, ces femmes, si elles arrivent à augmenter leurs revenus, elles peuvent toutefois aussi augmenter aussi la vie de leur ménage aussi, étant donné que les femmes participent pratiquement à 90% du revenu du ménage en question. Donc moi je m'allie un peu par rapport à tout ce qui est dit ce matin, par rapport à cette question d'éducation, d'alphabétisation numérique, pour dire qu'il faut vraiment une certaine sensibilisation auprès des décideurs là, pour pouvoir galvaniser, pour pouvoir motiver les femmes à pouvoir utiliser à bon escient ces services numériques là. Et au-delà de ça aussi, pouvoir tasser ces services numériques là pour pouvoir augmenter aussi nos tasses aussi en question. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you, Kuamvi. Also, I have the final question. I mean, one of the questions I was thinking of asking you is that how can the digital tech, in fact, which is very contextualized but can help to make the situation more inclusive and more empowering, and can really help to solve some of the problem in a more sustainable way. But that question we can take a little later, but before that we can once again ask the audience if you have any questions or comments. And once again, I would like to remind you that you can also share evidences and comments and from your locality or from your context. Morrisson, can you hear us? If you can switch on your microphone and video. And well, I'll try to speak something so that we can confirm that we can hear you or not. Morrisson, you're still not audible. Like we can see you for sure, but you're not audible. It's the microphone. I believe that some kind of technical issues with the microphone. All right. Okay. Morrisson, we will come back to you once again. What I'll suggest is that either you try to use a different headphone if you have available, else try to remove the headphone and see if your mobile or the electronic device that you're using, if you can use the inbuilt microphone that is available in the device. Hopefully that will solve the problem. We really hope that we will be able to hear you and you will be able to present and share the stories with us. All right. So right now I would like to ask if there is any question from the audience. Yes, please.
J'aimerais savoir, puisque vous voulez que les femmes rendent leurs activités en e-commerce en utilisant le digital, elles n'auront pas d'entrepôt ou bien de magasin physique. Du coup, quel est le système que l'État peut mettre en place afin de prélever des impôts sur ces entreprises de e-commerce?
Déjà, merci beaucoup pour votre question aussi pertinente. Hein. J'ai ma cousine qui est dans dans le commerce de chaussures, elle a toujours son entrepôt, mais elle vend toujours avec le e-commerce. C'est pour dire que l'entrepôt peut exister toujours. Vous voyez à peu près. Et la question, c'est de savoir mais quel est le dispositif que l'État doit mettre en place, c'est ça? Et pour permettre à ces femmes de pouvoir utiliser le digital en question. Et je vais te donner l'exemple de certains pays, en l'occurrence le Rwanda, où en 2019 il a été mis en place une modernisation de l'Office rwandaise des recettes, où là-bas il a été dit que toutes les factures doivent être numérisées et que tout ce qui passe en transition numérique doit être comptabilisé par le Trésor public de l'État. Et tout ce qui a été fait là-bas a permis d'augmenter les contribuables de 300 000 contribuables avec une augmentation des recettes de plus de 40%. Et puis, de ce côté-là, vous allez voir que pratiquement 45% de femmes qui sont des entrepreneuses ont été enregistrées par l'État dans cette question-là. Il y a aussi beaucoup d'exemples que je peux citer aujourd'hui. Il y a l'Office fiscal du Ghana, qui a aussi l'autorité fiscale du Ghana, qui a aussi un dispositif comme ça. Pour la Côte d'Ivoire, il y a des impôts synthétiques qui ont été mis en place en Côte d'Ivoire, où les transactions numériques qui se font sur les portables sont taxées directement. Ça a fait augmenter le chiffre d'affaires de l'office en question de pratiquement de 127 milliards, avec 2,1 millions de personnes qui ont été enregistrées, et figure-toi que c'est 58% de femmes qui sont dedans. C'est pour dire que l'État peut mettre en place des dispositifs, ça réduit les coûts de l'administration fiscale, et au-delà de ça, ça permet aussi que les transactions, qu'on ait des données réelles en même temps au niveau des offices pour augmenter les recettes de l'État en question. Merci beaucoup pour ça.
Thank you, Kuamvi. I would like to now invite Michael to answer or share your thoughts on the issues of trust. In your presentation, you have mentioned about trust a few times, and I believe that this is a very important issue because even though we have the physical infrastructure or digital infrastructure in place, trust plays a major role. So what are your experiences from the ground, and how can we really build the trust in the digital environment? Rahaman has shared his ideas, but also we would like to hear from you in detail.
Well, thank you. So when it comes to building trust, building trust in terms of using digital technologies, it's a bit difficult because by its nature, it doesn't allow for face-to-face interaction, which is a key way of building trust among individuals. But I think that one way that one intervention that can help build trust has to do with helping people understand what goes into these digital technologies. If people are really aware as to how these technologies work, then that in itself can help them develop trust in using it. Because some of these algorithms that are used in these digital technologies, yes, they are technical in nature, but there's a way, or policymakers should find a way to help people appreciate what goes into it, so that they know that it is safe. Whatever information that you are being required or requested when you are using these platforms, information that will be kept secure. Once we do that, I think that in itself will help build trust in using digital technologies. Again, there should be more community engagement as well. So, for instance, some of these companies that provide financial service in digital format, they assume that the users on their own can appreciate the importance of using those platforms. But that is not always the case. Okay, so they should also take additional steps for the users of their platforms to really appreciate the benefits that they will derive from using their platforms. In Africa, we've seen so much apps springing up that are meant to help farmers. But can we ask ourselves how many times do these platforms emanate from these firms? Sometimes it's more like we've developed it and you're just giving it to them to use. We don't seek for their advice on how to structure these digital platforms. Some even complain that the interfaces are too complex for them. So if you can engage them when you are developing these softwares or applications, then they will really appreciate and be able to easily use the platforms as well. There's also the issue of regulation. Yes, this is a new area that is emerging, and so we appreciate that we don't have robust rules governing the sector so much. But I think that policymakers should also be up and doing. In Ghana, for instance, recently the Bank of Ghana had calls to step in because most of the financial institutions that were providing digital credit did not have any license. So once there's more regulation, and we see that in itself would also build trust among potential users to use the platform. So that is what I can say. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Michael. As we can gain two major points from what you have mentioned. One is the policy intervention, and another one is the community engagement. I'll come to Rahaman on how you are building policy intervention and community engagement, especially in the case of flood-affected Bangladesh and maybe other areas in Bangladesh which are not yet flood affected but affected through some kind of climate and other kinds of issues which are you are dealing with. But before that, I would like to ask Albert from ADB to share his opinion about, at least in the context where ADB is working, of how you are, doing the policy interventions and how you're engaging the communities so that it can solve, or it does solve, the problems that people are facing and bringing meaningful changes to their lives. Over to you. I don't know if the camera can turn towards you, but at least we can hear you. That's
fine. Yeah, so, in this area of digitalization in particular, this is now a high priority for ADB. I mentioned it, on the first day in the morning. So we have a new digital transformation office that is really trying to promote, especially building digital infrastructure, including digital public infrastructure. We have a new project also with Gates Foundation on DPI. So that's part of it. But then we've also been working, I think, in the area of financial inclusion for a while. We support the APEC finance ministers track on financial inclusion regularly every year. So we organize a big conference and support the discussion among government officials on how to promote financial inclusion and share experience among the APEC economies. And then we have a finance sector office too that does projects in finance. And part of their work is also to support microfinance and support greater access to small and medium enterprises. I mean, one challenge, because places like ADB, they're kind of the large banks, so it's hard for them to do a deal with a one MSME. So usually they do work through kind of financial institutions that are specialized, like Apex microfinance institutions, and work with them both in terms of capacity building, but also thinking about the types of clients that ADB would like to support, whether it be women or micro enterprises or in specific sectors. So that's an area of work that we do. In our research fund, we also have a regular monitoring of small and medium enterprises. We have a report every year on the progress of SME development. So we work with statistical offices to try to get better. I mean, surprisingly, the way that SMEs are defined differ quite a lot across countries. So just trying to harmonize how people are defining SMEs and then provide some indicators of the progress in different countries. And we also try to do surveys and knowledge work on kind of during the pandemic, for instance, what were the factors affecting SME credit access during that period. And so we do some surveys and knowledge work to try to provide insights and knowledge level to the challenges. So those are some of the things that we're doing, and right now, because of the challenges in the global trading environment, there's a lot of interest in trying to improve or increase SME participation in trade as well, to make trade more inclusive. And so that's another area I think we'll be spending more time on, kind of going forward. And then, you know, at a kind of at a policy level, we work with governments on reform strategies in different sectors, including finance sectors. And there's quite a lot of interest among governments in the region in promoting inclusive financial development. And I would say countries like Malaysia and Indonesia in particular are really leading, trying to provide special allocations of funds for SMEs, and thinking about how to build, at the same time, build the capacity of SMEs to prepare and to, you know, support broader social development goals.
No, I just wanted to.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for this very detailed and very important insights on how can the DPI, Digital Public Infrastructure, along with big banks like ADB can collaborate with the microfinance organizations which have proven track record, so that they can lead to the last mile and connect to the people who are affected and who need solutions. And of course, one important insight which is coming up from our panel, both online and here from Rahaman, from Kuamvi, and from Michael, is that including the people from whom the solution is designed is very important. Then the solution is localized and actually help the people, and they feel that ownership in that. I will now request Rahaman to explain the same thing, how you are doing it, or your organizations or other organizations that you know of are kind of connecting on one hand with bigger financial organizations like ADB or any other organization, at the same time with the ground level communities and organizations, and trying together to bridge the gap and ultimately to solve the problems and provide sustainable solutions. So we would be immensely benefited from your experience. So over to you.
It is very much tough to bridge the gap, because in terms of disaster management or climate resilience, there are a lot of actors in the field. In Bangladesh, almost all of the ministries, there are more than 30 ministries in Bangladesh. Almost all of the ministries are involved in climate change related activities. There are two most important ministries. One is our, especially not ministry, this is Department of Meteorology, and another ministry, the Ministry of Disaster Relief and Rehabilitation. We have MOU with Bangladesh Meteorological Department, and we are working only at present, working with only flood resilience. So we have MOU with Flood Forecasting and Warning Center. But we have found there is a lot of missing information from both of these departments. And at the local level, there are some organizations, especially government agencies, are working, like Department of Agriculture Extension, Department of Livestock, Department of Fisheries. Is our lower administrative unit in Bangladesh called Upazila, which is a sub-district. There is a lot of government agencies, but we are working with Department of Agriculture Extension, Livestock, Department of Public Health Engineering. They provide some information to us. So there is an engagement with government agency, but whenever we need to go to scale up the nationwide this intervention, I have previously mentioned, we are trying to develop Undi type apps which will provide real-time information. There are many of the information we are generating from the field level, like land use pattern or coping pattern, and also proximity to the water bodies, and we also collecting some information from Earth observation, because you are from India, you know, our hydrometeorological disaster are transboundary issues. So we need to collect some information from Earth observation. So in Bangladesh, whenever we need to escalate it and connect this intervention with the policy level, not only national policy, we need to connect it with the regional policy level, like India, like Nepal, Bhutan. In Bangladesh, flood is also related to Bhutan and also Nepal, India. So we need to connect with. We are trying to develop the regional research hub from which we will connect the regional policymakers with this intervention. Every year we organize a regional conference for this region, but this year due to some our national political condition, this is postponed. So we need to connect with the geological survey of Bangladesh because they will provide our land elevation information. Flood and storm surge is related to land elevation also. Which land will be submerged with 2 feet water, 2 feet flood. This is related to land elevation. So we need to connect with the department, our Bangladesh Geological Survey. So there are there need to more finance, but we are trying to secure finance to ensure this intervention to escalate nationwide. Not only nationwide, it can be used. At present, only the global app, and everybody use this app to find the heat-related information, to find the cyclone-related information. So we are trying to develop such type of app using this information, a micro-level information. How can we mitigate our flood-induced loss and damage? And recently we are working to develop a heat action using this app. So hopefully within 1 year we can export it in public domain, and then we will work with our policymakers. How can we export in nationwide for the East community, East area, and also in India, Nepal, Bhutan also. Thank you.
Kuamvi, would you like to share your experiences and how you're collaborating, or what kind of ways you're navigating this difficult landscape, which is not sometimes not restricted in the political geographical boundaries of the nations? Yeah.
Ok, merci. Moi, je vais beaucoup plus m'orienter vers notre thème, la mobilisation des ressources fiscales, où je peux dire qu'il faudrait beaucoup plus, par rapport à nos implications politiques, améliorer toujours l'inclusion et pour polariser tout ce qui est numérique vers l'entrepreneuriat et vers le développement des entreprises féminines. Il faut d'un autre côté aussi toujours accentuer l'effort pour pouvoir avoir une certaine égalité de sexe. Égalité de sexe, ce qui permet aux femmes d'avoir accès au marché qui soit inclusif et puis qui permette d'avoir toutes les informations nécessaires pour pouvoir créer les entreprises et puis avoir accès aussi à l'emploi aussi, d'une manière comme les hommes aussi l'ont aussi. Et il faut d'un autre côté aussi améliorer la gouvernance institutionnelle, améliorer toujours la gouvernance institutionnelle avec l'état de droit pour pouvoir sanctionner tout ce qui va à l'encontre des réglementations qui aident beaucoup les femmes à pouvoir créer leur entreprise, étant donné que dans nos sociétés africaines, nous avons beaucoup de difficultés en termes de corruption, beaucoup de difficultés en termes de gouvernance. Il faut avoir aussi cet aspect-là aussi dans l'angle de vue aussi. Et en dernier point, ce que je pourrais dire, c'est qu'il faut pouvoir faire en sorte que les règlements ainsi que les règles permettent aux femmes d'avoir une certaine assise sur le marché afin de les permettre vraiment d'utiliser l'outil numérique pour pouvoir avoir cette plus-value-là, se développer et pouvoir contribuer vraiment à la productivité et au développement de nos contrées. Merci bien.
Thank you, Kuamvi, for pointing out the political intention along with institutional support, legislative support, and also the regulations and the kind of happy marriage between regulations and corporations where corruptions and are not there and it is kind of replaced by transparency. Hard things to achieve, but we believe it's possible. But before we move to the next round of questions, here I have an online question from a student in Gaza. So I would like all of you to pay attention to it. because the answer may not be limited to a panelist or to the representative here from the ADB, but all of you can share your thoughts if you have any. So I'm going to read it. I am a student from Gaza developing a mobile learning bus for women and children affected by the conflict. Any advice on funding or partnership to help expand that initiative? So what can be done when the issues are in conflict regions? We have discussed about issues which are, or people who are affected by climate catastrophes, who are affected by other natural calamities, but often the discussion we kind of overlook is the geopolitical conflict that is happening, that is sometimes beyond the capacities of any national government or any small organization to deal with. We may not provide a clear-cut solutions, but any thoughts on that would be very, very much welcome, so that we can at least give some direction to the students and to the people who are trying to do something positive and focusing towards learning. So any thoughts are welcome. Anybody who would like to comment?
Yes. So we had the colleagues from UNICEF who were here yesterday. This sounds like something pretty much in their wheelhouse. So we have right now a number of NGOs that are trying to bring support to Gaza. Through those, this correct funding source can be identified. I think most of the focus initially was on food and nutrition for obvious reasons. We are hoping that as the situation improves in the field, we are able to diversify the support to areas such as education that are tremendously important. But yes, I would say that UNICEF and UN agencies would be my first point of contact. And then which non-governmental organizations will be able to be deployed in the field will be the ones who can support. And this is a big question mark at the moment.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Elizabeth, and I fully agree with you. Sometimes things are beyond individual control, but at the same time, help and guidance are available. UNICEF and the NGOs working in that area are there for you to help. Alik, if I am pronouncing your name correctly, and if you can hear us, you have heard Elizabeth talking about where you can go, and we hope that you will be able to provide the solutions, the mobile learning bus, and we wish you all the best from Clermont-Ferrand, France. We have about 10 to 12 minutes of time left, so I would like to quickly ask our presenter here to kind of articulate their thoughts and give a concluding remark. But before that, I'd just like to check once again whether we have Morrisson here or not. Not yet, he is not connected. I feel kind of sorry, but at the same time, technical problems do arise, and sometimes beyond our control to help it from our end. And we hope that we'll be able to hear Morrisson in some future forum, and if he joins anytime before we conclude, at least we'll give him some platform, so we just finger crossed. But before that, after that, I welcome all our participants, starting from Michael. But before that, Michael, here we have a question, and I'll take the question first, and I'll open the floor to the panelists for their final concluding remarks. Yeah.
Thank you. I'll be asking something in terms of the Pacific content. So basically, I represent from Fiji Islands, and I think really well what you have already discussed, and which we are also facing in the small island states, and basically not only Fiji but our nearby, the countries there. So basically, in terms of contingency plans, which I can say that. So I have a question here. So to what extent can technology-based contingency planning enhance financial resilience and adaptive capacity key factors, basically like Pacific Island countries in terms of economics, of such as agriculture, tourism, and energy. So in terms of like climate change is one of the heating, for the Pacific at the moment, and Fiji is feeling the big heat of that, and as well as economic shocks and these digital vulnerabilities as well.
Thank you for the question. As you can see that the problems we face in Bangladesh or in India is not limited there at that part of the world. There are spread across, and other countries, as you mentioned, are also facing the problem. Who would like to take that question? And I include Michael as well. Michael, if you can hear us, and if you would like to start, and start sharing your opinion and answers, that would be really great. Along with that, you can also provide your concluding remarks as well.
Oh, thank you. I did not hear his question, but maybe I'll give my concluding remarks.
All right.
If that is okay. In my research so far, what I've seen is that even though we want to believe that the advent of digital technology holds the key to address the problems that we face in developing countries, we need to understand that digital technologies, as we have it now, continues to be a market-led intervention. What I mean is that most of the resources that goes into digital technology development and also its introduction are owned by private individuals. And that means that their main motivation is profit maximization. And so if we don't ensure that there's proper regulation of their activities, most of their market conduct would end up not improving the cases or the problems that we are not addressing the problems that we have, but rather worsening it. So for instance, if you look at the financial sector, which is where I tend to do research on, you find that digital credits, the interest that they are charging on it, it's very high compared to the traditional banks. And what they tend to say is that it's because of the high risks that they face. That is true. The risks that they face is much higher than the traditional banks. But I think that the interest that they charge are sometimes too high. And so governments need to ensure that they come in, step in, and regulate that sector properly so that we can reap the benefits that we all want to see. So that is what I want to conclude. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michael. I'd move to Kuamvi and then to Rahaman.
Merci beaucoup pour mon mot de fin. Je peux dire que les TIC sont très importantes pour nos sociétés. C'est très important pour pouvoir servir à pouvoir densifier nos budgets. Mais au-delà de ça, il faudrait que l'outil informatique ou l'outil TIC soit vraiment un outil qui puisse nous servir. Ce n'est pas un outil qui remplace réellement nos façons de faire, mais ça doit vraiment nous aider à servir. Donc il faut définir vraiment des cadres bien appropriés, comme nous l'avons dit dans le débat, ainsi que des politiques bien affinées pour pouvoir mettre vraiment en synergie cette TIC-là avec l'inclusion des CES pour pouvoir avoir cette mobilisation des recettes fiscales tant attendues chez nous. Merci.
Yeah, I can answer this question and also closing remarks.
Okay. I don't have any experience on small island countries, but I have experience on small island settlement in Bangladesh, because in Bangladesh there are some small islands, and I am from also a small island. But in the island there are a lot of problems, not only climate, there is a communication problem also. And as per my expertise, I am a geographer, a CFP. Then I am working on climate science, so I have some experience on geography. Fiji is a small island country, not only a small island country, it's inside the ocean. So it is a more vulnerable to disaster and climate change. And in current years, our global ocean current already changed. So I think we need more research-oriented information about the future of small island countries. Some of the countries are trying to replace their people to the another countries, maybe Vanuatu or any other countries. There are a lot of finance are going. So I think at this moment it's not wise to conclude anything about the small island countries, but globally people are working, global policymakers are working about this issue. So we need to discuss in the wider community like Coffie or any other global platform, that will be better. And in terms of digital inclusion and also economic empowerment, climate resilience, digital resilience, information is highly important, and globally information is most important, and also misinformation also destructing nation or in current years we are we have some experience from Bangladesh, from Nepal or any other countries. Like we have some experience on information and misinformation dissemination. So whenever we are working on developing inclusive information for marginalized people, in that case, they need a national policy and also they need a global policy. Otherwise, I have mentioned in our South Asian countries, whenever we are working on a climate information, we need to transboundary information sharing policy. Otherwise, it's not possible for us to develop climate resilience or our disaster resilience in Bangladesh. So there are a lot of information we need to collect from our neighboring countries. So I think from this platform we can urge an important issue to develop the regional information sharing platform. Then it will be most helpful for us.
Thank you, Rahaman, thank you, Kuamvi, and thank you, Michael, for all your inputs. Before I kind of try to conclude, I'd like to take you back to the initial question that I asked our esteemed panelists, is that what are the critical human systemic factors beyond establishing the digital tech or tech in general, which can really solve the issue in a sustainable manner, which is resilient, and which puts community at the core. In today's discussion, several points have come up, and some of the important point is not just about including the community, but also improving the decision-making power of women so that they come at the forefront. We can bring and they take the decisions, and also involving the locals. Another point which came up and rightly pointed out by ADB, that sometimes the bigger financial organizations cannot directly get involved, but they always do with the smaller partners, the microfinance organizations who are directly connected with the locale. So this bridge is very important. Building the bridge, and also as pointed out by Rahaman and by Kuamvi and Morrisson, that this connection not only has to go from financial organizations to the NGOs or organizations working at the ground level, the connection also have to go from ministries and the diplomats and the departments to the ground level as well. And in that channel, in that vertical flow, there are certain issues which are coming up as major hurdles, as rightly pointed out, is the bureaucracy, the red tapeism, and also corruption. Now these are the issues, of course, cannot be solved in a day or over a conference, but nonetheless these issues are persistent, and we need to see how digital tech can overcome or bypass some of these initial problems of corruption and can directly, transfer the benefits to the people who are who are looking for that solutions. One important and final finding that I would like to mention here, that irrespective of all the involvement of the financial organizations, NGOs, the involvement of public or the government is very, very important here, which also came up during the discussions, because as rightly pointed out by Michael, many of these interventions or tech interventions are market-led interventions. That means there could be inflated prices, there could be other kind of charges, hidden charges, which are very much market motivated. So to ensure that the benefit reaches the people, the public interventions is very much important, which should have enough transparency so that all the players, both at different stages of the verticals, can join hands and can solve the problem so that the region and the people can benefit from it. So with this note, and once again I would like to thank everybody. I would like to thank all the panelists here in person, also the panelists here online. And I also, on behalf of GDN, I would also like to express sincere apologies to Morrisson, who could not join for some technical reason, but I hope that he will be able to join in some future events of GDN and maybe academic and other conferences, overcoming the technical glitches. So thank you all and wish you a very happy evening, and there are more events lined up after that, so don't just leave and join us with other events followed by the coffee, I believe. So thank you all once again.
I think we should take it.
Let's take a group picture, yes. I believe that all of you can stand and somebody can take a picture from this side. From this side. All of you,
Yes, I guess visible.
yeah, he is there, so I think. Yeah. Oh, he has logged out, I believe, so.
No, we didn't tell him.
No. Michael, if you can switch on your video, we are just trying to take a picture. Michael, if you can switch on your video.
That would be great. I'm around. Yes.
We can see you.
Yes, that would be.
Please
Thank
be
you.
there. Yeah. Can
Maybe
you can see?
It's okay. Yes.
It's okay?
Yes.
Can you see him? Yes. And one more group picture here with all of you, yeah.
Let's get one over that.
Please go.
Okay.
Can you see Michael?
Yeah? Can we? Yeah, okay. Little bit, yes? Okay, all right. Now? Okay, perfect.
We have collaboration.
Or maybe you can just stand.
Yeah, Rahaman, if you can stand this side.
You balance the photo.
No. Yeah. Now we can see you.
Yeah. Because we are planning to give you things.
Okay? All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
He joined the last year's conference.
I just want to say something.